Hey folks, this is LA Rathbone. Um, it's been a while. This is something a little bit different. Before I move on to some series on advanced Linux tasks, I was searching around YouTube the other day, and I found this video called Retro Red Hat Linux 9. I thought that was pretty cool because there, as the guy in that video mentioned, there weren't really any Linux retro videos up on YouTube. So this is a retro video of Slackware 7.1. I didn't actually run Slackware back then. I ran, I don't think I actually run Linux at all then. But when I tried older distributions out when I first started running Linux, because it wasn't running very fast on my old machine, I was looking at older distributions, and I ended up putting Red Hat 6 or 7 on there, which is kind of from around the same era. So the reason why I'm showing this is because it has GNOME, I believe version 1.2, and also the 1.x series. I guess we'll find out together which one it is of KDE. So a lot of people are familiar with the GNOME 2 desktop in terms of older desktops for GNOME, but not too many people are familiar with GNOME 1. So I think I'm going to show that off and show off some KDE. So I've already done a little bit of preliminary setup on this machine. I'm going to log in as root. Now, you'll note that there's so few modules loaded when I run lsmod. On older versions of Linux, there was no udev, there was no hotplug or anything like that. You had to load the modules yourself and specify what those were. So there was a little file called etc/rcd/rc modules in older, and I think it's still there to this day in Slackware, that lets you manually load modules. And for this virtual machine, I have it emulating the Sound Blaster 16, so I uncommented this line here to get it to load my sound modules. And other than that, a few modules were loaded based on things that I did during the installer. Other than that, it has no idea what my hardware is. There's no USB modules loaded or anything, so it's very bare bones. You had to do things more manually in those days, and also you had to edit the. This is X-Free86 version, I believe 3.3 point something. So the XF86 config file is directly in etc. And I played around with it a bit, but I didn't have too much luck changing the defaults. So I'm just going to leave them the way they are. But I mean, it used the frame buffer by default, so completely unaccelerated VESA X. And if you wanted an accelerated, X, you had to jump through quite a few hoops to get that working. And on this virtual machine, I'm just not going to try that. I don't think it's really worth it. So just showing you that so you know. So I'm going to run init4 to put us into run level 4 so that we can check out some GUIs from those days. So this will start up the KDM display manager, which is KDE's display manager from those days. So I'm going to log in as a normal user that I created off screen. The first window manager I'm going to show you is an older one called FVWM95. My ritual when I installed Slackware used to be to test X. I would run FVWM95, and it wasn't until relatively recently that they got rid of it. So I was kind of sad when they did, because I didn't get my little test bed anymore. So Slackware used to come with this little file manager called XFM that you could use to manage files. It's really basic, but it works. And of course, you've got XV, which was an application that came with Slackware for years and years. It's basically an image viewer, and but it was a shareware product that was included with Slackware. Another non-free application that was a default browser, of course, was Netscape. and it came with Netscape. You'll notice how fast it loaded there. Like I click it and it starts instantly. I mean, Netscape used to be known to take forever to start, so that's kind of funny. Even running on a virtual machine, how fast it starts now. And you can go to Google, of course, but you're not going to find anything work too well in a browser this old. You can't even go to the Netscape website anymore on it, so that's kind of funny. If you try to go to Facebook, there's no way it's going to work. Can't even get to the page. So, not particularly useful. You can still use it to search Google, but that's really about it. I couldn't get the scroll wheel to ever work in Netscape 4. I couldn't get it to work in this older version of X either. There's probably a way to do it, but I just can't be bothered right now. So there you have it, Netscape 4.73, FVWM95. It was kind of cute. It gave you a little start menu. It was really fast. That's one thing I really liked about it, and it worked. It has some launches for programs I don't even have, like Emacs. You're just going to click it, nothing's going to happen. That kind of silent failure was common in Linux in those days. Oh, look at that. I have a little chess game. It's pretty good. Oh, look at that. There were a lot of little programs that used to come with old versions of Linux back in the day that were kind of cool. Now I can't figure out how to exit this program. Okay, well, I mean, this program is being annoying and not dying, so I'm going to use the kill and just kill it. X no. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. Oh, the things you used to be able to do on these old versions of Linux. Lots of fun. And of course, you've got 6 different desktops. So, I mean, FVWM95 was pretty good back in the day. And a lot of distributions used some version of FVWM95 or FVWM modified to look kind of like this as their defaults. But this was, even with 7.1, good, we got back to our display manager. It came with early versions of KDE and GNOME, or GNOME. I mean, I'm just going to call it GNOME. So let's check out GNOME. No, let's check out KDE first. So I believe it probably comes with, I'll check the version once we start. I believe it comes with version 1.1 or something like that. KDE. And it's the first time I've ever run this on this system, so it might take a while. Or not. Oh yeah, this brings back some memories. So it was really straightforward. You had, instead of having the bottom panel with your application launchers and your desktops and your taskbar combined, they put the taskbar up top right here. So if you start trusty old Netscape there, it'll be in the taskbar there, and you can. The file manager for KDE was not Conqueror in those days. It was or Dolphin. It was KFM. So if I go to About KDE, of course it doesn't tell me the version. Well, I believe it's version 1. Oh, there we go. KDE 1.1.2. So I was correct. It's a version 1.1, and the kernel version I'm using is 2.2.16. So you got your KDE Control Center here, where you can customize a bunch of things. Netscape was just giving me some kind of an error there. That's nice. You behave now. And I believe sound should be working. I just don't really know if I have any real programs. CD player, media player. Well, let's see if this works. I'm gonna go to user, share, sounds. Well, we might need to use a sound. We might need to use a mixer. Well, there's so many reasons why this might not be working. In those days, you could, unless you set things up with a mixer or type of thing, you can only have one sound coming out at a time. Ugh, and now I'm back to this whole thing here. Anyway, I'm not going to bother with that. KDE was pretty configurable in those days. Again, quite a few little screensavers that came with it. Let's test this one here. So that one's trying to use OpenGL, not really being very successful, probably because we're running a frame buffer on accelerated X. Oh my god, they had a matrix thing. The movie The Matrix must have been really new in that at the time, so that was probably a pretty popular one to use. Let's discard those themes. There was a little theme manager that came with it, and compared to GNOME, the themes that came with it, I remember them being pretty good. So you had some of these ones here. I forget which one I liked. I think this one was kind of neat. Oh god. Never mind, that looks horrible. Let's try this one. Yeah, this kind of look was kind of popular in those days, you know. Oh god. I mean, it looks fine except for the taskbar when you have an icon minimized, and when you have an icon selected, it looks so horrible. But the window decorations look kind of nice. Let's go back to the default. So we can, let's see, what if we get rid of that? It'll start looking more like motif, I think. Yeah, I see. I prefer the Windows 95 style. There wasn't an awful lot you could really do with desktop environments back then. You know, they basically just manage your windows and let you run some applications and manage your files. They were pretty straightforward. I think KFM actually worked as a web browser, so if we go to google.com, you can see that it really badly displays Google. But it was, in those days, it was considered faster than Netscape. So a lot of people would use it just for simple web browsing. Let's see. You got your email client, Kmail. That was kind of straightforward. I never really used it though. And of course your editor, Kedit. A lot of the programs are here that are still somewhere in the KDE desktop to this day. But it's changed quite a bit since then, as you can tell. Get some games with it. Let's see. Oh, a little IRC client. Little clipboard tool. And then, yeah, you had a little system tray in KDE back then, just like you do now. But I don't think GNOME had that until version 1.4. But this version that we'll see in a minute predates that. So there's quite a bit here, really. But you're not going to really be able to do anything modern on here, like watch YouTube videos or anything like that. I mean, I don't think you'd even be able to get OpenOffice. You certainly wouldn't be able to get OpenOffice to run on here. The libraries would all be too old. Did it come with an Office program? Let's see. I thought there was a K Office back then, but it might not have been out yet. I remember it took a while for it to come out. So they might not have that on here. No, there's no K Office. We might have numeric or something in AbiWord, but I'm not sure if we do. Let's have a look. I think Alt F2, yeah, still works as the run dialog. Do we have AbiWord? No. Oh, we do have numeric though. So that was at least kind of good. There's a spreadsheet that you could run. This is a GNOME application. This was one of the better. This is one of the flagship GNOME applications in those days. I think it was actually written by Miguel de Icaza. But don't quote me on that. It was kind of known as a test bed for GTK back then. But we'll save the GNOME applications for when we look at GNOME. I think there's some of the utilities were kind of good then, because a lot of these things you could only do on the console until KDE came along and let you, gave you a little GUI for it. So things like setting up your keyboard and mouse, and well, things like that, and your little utilities like your floppy tool and stuff, KFloppy, that lets you format floppies, just little things like that. Nothing too crazy. So yeah, let's log out of there. Hopefully it works. Okay. Now let's check out GNOME. And this is going to be GNOME, probably version 1.2, but we'll see in a minute. Oh, brother. I didn't like GNOME as much as KDE in those days. It was really, I found it really annoying to use. I think they're defaulting to the floppy focus model. So let me see if there's a. Let's first things first see if we can run our little configuration tool here. It's window manager. So we're running Sawfish. And you could also switch it to Enlightenment. Let's try that. Oh, God. So that was something you could do if you wanted to. I can get rid of all these little dialogues, these little icon boxes here and things. I think I'll go back to Sawfish. But I'm going to see if I can run the configuration tool and switch it to focus each window. Let's see. It's got to be here. Appearance, bindings, focus. Oh, I see. Click. Alright, that's a little better. I don't really like the font that it's using either there. That's really ugly. So, let's see if we can change the font. I don't like that look either. Can we use No, they didn't have. What was the one that I liked then? Brushed metal. That's the enlightenment one. Gradient. Oof, no thanks. GTK was very basic, I think. Mono. No, we don't want that one. Go back to micro GUI. Oh, what's simple? Let's see. Nope. Micro GUI. Yep. Better than the other ones. Let's change the font to Helvetica. Size 12. That looks a little better there. Alright. So we didn't have Nautilus in those days. GNOME came with a little file manager called GMC. GNOME Midnight Commander. As you can see, Red Hat was quite involved in making GNOME work in those early days. I think they still are. The Fedora team pushes GNOME pretty hard still. Let's have a look at what you can do here. So I don't really know why they have this they have the panel not going all across the screen. That's kind of silly, I think, but it's the way they do it by default, I guess. So, and they put these little headings on here on your menus, which is really stupid. I mean, as if I don't know I'm in the utilities menu by virtue of it being over there. But anyway, you got some games there. I don't understand why they have an applications menu within programs. That's really badly organized. And as we see, there's numeric, notepad. Oh, that's actually a pretty good text editor for GNOME. That's actually pretty good. You can. It's almost like an HTML editor. One thing that was confusing to a lot of users is that they had so many clocks to choose from. So there's another clock, after step clock, clock and a mail check. I'm just going to put a regular clock on there. I'm not sure why it didn't come with a clock to begin with, but there's Netscape there. This is a common occurrence back in the day to run Netscape on GNOME. There was no web browser for GNOME. And you have your little interactive help. And I believe it's how do I find it? About GNOME. Help. No. Yeah, I can't for the life of me find out where. Oh, here it is. About GNOME. Well, what version is it? I'm guessing it's probably 1.2, but it's hard to tell. I didn't really care for this back in the day. Anyway, there's a little taste of what Linux used to look like. Why don't we run the GIMP, because that was at least one program that worked well. There you go. Let's see. It's probably GIMP 1.0.4. Oof. There you go, it works. and there's the GNOME terminal. Let me see if they ran ESD back in the day. Yeah, they ran that stupid ESD daemon, which took over all your sound, kind of like Pulse Audio does now. Just as people were frustrated by Pulse Audio, people were frustrated by ESD, so there's always something. Let's see if I can log out properly. And I can. So there you have it, folks. GNOME and KDE. Back in the 1.x days. I hope you found that riveting. Probably not. That wasn't as much fun as I thought it would be, to be honest. But hey, back in the day, those were what we had, and we liked it. So, yeah, that's all for now. That's Zelly Rathbone saying good night and good luck, and I'll see you soon.